As a person who was moving out of the Catholic Church with my mom, I had a lot of questions about a relationship with God rather than a religion. And a lot of those questions got directed at Pastor Phil.
Well, so since we grew up in a church that I had been to my whole life, we made a switch when I was in about 5th grade to come to Fellowship, and my earliest memories of being at Fellowship are just the fact that I had never been to a church that met at a school. So meeting at the school and really setting up church and tearing it down. I just remember working alongside as a 11-year-old, carrying chairs out next to the guys and really kind of understanding some service that way was definitely different.
One of my earlier memories is I remember my little sister would not be left in a nursery, and she would have to be walked all around the Clearview building through the hallways on a stroller, and you could just hear her screaming down the hallway. Somehow that's really what stuck in my memory.
There were a number of times where we used to do fellowship hour in between the Sunday school hour and the Sunday morning service. And so I don't remember how many people we were at that point, but everybody would come down to the cafeteria of the school that we were meeting in, either Clearview or Kingsway at the time, and there would be refreshments and things like that. And I remember running around with a couple of my friends and knocking the coffee cup out of Jerry Northrup's hand. And I don't remember if he remembers that or not, but I remember making a mess.
Yeah, so the property that the building is on was owned by FBC for years before there was ever a building on it. We met at different schools, different times, but I do remember, for one, on Easter, every year we had a sunrise service where we would have church on the property here, just in the field, and there was just a cross there. I'd always remember doing that. But I also remember every week, me and my sisters all putting $1 in a building fund envelope, all throughout my childhood to help fund the building that would one day be built. And then when I was a freshman in high school, I remember finally having our first service here, and it was really overwhelming. It was really awesome.
One of my earlier memories actually with Fellowship Bible Church was actually a one-day kind of missions thing. There was a group that went to, I believe it was Coney Island, but again, I was young. These memories are a little bit hazy, but what I remember there was not necessarily what we did. I remember sitting there and observing. I think it was for the first time in my life as a young child, I realized that not everyone had a home the way that I did, and not every child had every meal worked out the way that I did. Not every child had toys the way that I did. I remember just sitting there and watching the people, and what really stuck out to me was that not everyone had a family that I had. There were a lot of, I remember, men that were sitting there, and whether or not I put those pieces together then, I don't know, but the memory stuck with me.
I think Jack really laid out the model for me of what a minister should do in terms of both encouragement, one-on-one sort of encouragement, and also one-on-one directness in terms of, if I was ever, having a bad day or something, Jack would just be really poignant with his questions in terms of asking me, is this what you're going through? And, oddly specific, kind of thing. And that was very instrumental in helping me learn how to not only ask those questions of other people, but ask them of myself.
It's just interesting because in doing very early church work now at a different church, it's the same understanding of ministry, and I think that's always been something that was woven into my time at Fellowship, was just ministering. You being connected to the gospel, not just that you speak the gospel, that you know the gospel, but that you live the gospel. So living the gospel doesn't just mean, coming to church. It means coming to church and tearing down. It means coming to church and serving, listening, talking, engaging. Whether that's folding chairs, or whether that's folding hands in prayer, it's all pieces of the worship.
For me, my experience at FBC did really help me on my journey as I was solidifying a calling, as I was solidifying preparation. I was in college when I did an internship here, probably a sophomore in college, and just going with Pastor Phil, he brought me through like a kind of fake ordination process, and we did like a, I don't want to call it a fake ordination, but it was a practice ordination. And and just going through the different questions and understanding the breadth of what it would mean to be in full-time ministry. So just experiences like that really helped me work through what the Lord was working through me at the time.
Sure. I mean, I certainly never envisioned myself as a missionary during my time here, but I think the biggest factor was definitely my time spent in New Mexico, seeing as someone who was really kind of starting to lean toward an agnosticism, God's hand at work in New Mexico, whether it was for His good or watching the devil work in ways against His good news and saying, I can't say that I don't believe in something because there's something at work here. And so that trip, which eventually led me to Liberty University, I knew when I had finished my 4 years there that I wanted to give back to God. And the one way that I knew to do that was through a mission trip, and that was strictly because of what I had done through FBC, the encouragement I had received from friends and from mentors there, Pastor Jack, Elder John Gruber at the time. So that was a really big turning moment, I think, in my faith and in my life.
I was given just great opportunities by, the pastors, Phil and Jack, and just opportunities to teach and learn how to teach and be a part of ministry from that level that they don't teach you. They don't teach you how to actually do at Bible college and seminary. Those aren't necessarily the pieces to actually stand in front of, 7th and 8th graders.
I am the youth director, the worship director, and I also oversee the college ministry. So those are my three concentric circles that overlap a lot. But that involves youth ministry on Wednesday nights, also involves a little bit of Sunday school oversight, college ministry on Thursday nights, and then just worship team, which is practicing song preparation, and then the music ministry on Sunday mornings.
So we're just a small church planted in the middle of Glassboro, trying to connect people back to the gospel and figure out what that looks like. And really on the opposite end of the spectrum, not having maybe the central location that I grew up in here at Fellowship, but having more, being a little more fluid. And that's kind of where we're at right now, being a part of a church that's learning. Kind of the days I came into Fellowship is where I am actually at now, on the other end of ministry. So it's pretty awesome.
Right now, I am the co-founder of Restoration Church, which is a church plant in inner city Philadelphia. It's there where I serve full-time as pastor of community.
So Kids Alley is a Christian faith-based organization. We are a nonprofit and we serve children and families in Camden.
I'm very thankful for the ministry of Fellowship Bible Church because it's very rare to have a church that is so dedicated to the Word and so dedicated to reaching out to its congregants. And I'm very thankful for both the upbringing that I've had in this body and also the opportunity to invest back into it again now.